The Scripps Howard Foundation is proud to honor excellence in photojournalism. The winner, Daniel Berehulak, a freelance photographer for the New York Times for Ebola's Deadly Spread. Ebola, mere mention of the word caused fear and panic last year as the menacing epidemic killed thousands in West Africa and threatened to spread worldwide. For 4 months beginning in August, longer than any other photojournalist, Daniel Berehulak chronicled the excruciating arc of Ebola as it tore across Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. He spent 3 weeks inside an Ebola treatment unit, constantly awash in highly infectious bodily fluids, found the family of patient zero, even set up a makeshift studio for portraits of frontline stalwarts, from doctors to gravediggers. His photos told the story of unbroken faith in Guinea, where health workers raised their hands in prayer, grief in Sierra Leone, where a child who accompanied her parents to a care center was now an orphan, and hostility in Liberia, where a family intent on a decent funeral for their loved one railed against body collectors. Berehulak's work was marked with persistence and bravery, even when personally confronted with extreme physical and emotional hardships, including an intense few days after an errant spray of infectious fluids landed in his mouth and eye and his body temperature began to rise. The photojournalist, who's covered wars, natural disasters, and breaking news in 50 countries around the globe, quietly told Ebola's emotional story through the lens of his camera, and in doing so, helped the world understand the urgency of the epidemic and the humanity of its victims.
It made me feel what the people felt. I became a part of their heartbeat. I felt their pain, their suffering. I felt their cries, their tears. I felt their loss.
The work was not only spontaneous and informative, but it was executed, I would say, and it was executed at the highest level of craft.
It was simply transporting. We were able to bear witness through his images of the horror that people were living through.
Michael Scagliotti presents the Scripps Howard for Photojournalism Award and $10,000 to Daniel Berehulak for his work in the New York Times.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, and thanks to the Scripps Howard Foundation for this incredible honor. Covering the spread and devastating impact of the Ebola virus in West Africa is by far the most challenging and important assignment of my career. It was not war in the conventional sense. It was not a conflict that was wholly visible. But it was, in so many ways, a battle that captivated and frightened the world. And I would be lying to say I was not also afraid at times. But the strength and resilience of the families and individuals I met during those many weeks in Africa was remarkable. I watched a father attempt to care for his 8-year-old son, not being able to hold him, to comfort him in the last moments of his young life. I saw families struggle with the devastation of not being able to respectfully bury and farewell their loved ones, and the overwhelming fear of stigma that survivors faced in their own communities. Ebola is a virus that preys on our humanity, on our ability to love and care for each other, as it is most deadly during the last moments of life. Family members and healthcare workers were the front line of this battle. On May 9th of this year, Liberia was declared Ebola-free. And I would like to acknowledge the success of these incredible fighters and everyone involved in helping. In Sierra Leone and Guinea, however, the battle continues. Pictures make connections between people regardless of culture, language, or geography. A camera is a voice to share somebody's story, and each picture is proof that our job does matter. I extend my deepest gratitude to my editors at the New York Times and fellow colleagues for their support and guidance, and to the Scripps Howard Foundation for honoring this work. Your recognition ensures the victims of the Ebola virus are not forgotten, and that is an accomplishment of which I'm very proud. Thank you.